from $8.5 billion today of market size. We are planning to grow to $44 billion. Now that's India growth story for the next 9 years, 10 years to come.
Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of the SPACEAVOCAT podcast, again here in Milano during this amazing International Astronautical Expo with Rajeev today from India. We met last year during the French/Indian mission sponsored by the GIFAS, and it was a great occasion for a lot of startups, especially from France, to discover the amazing fabric of the Indian space sector. And that's going to be the purpose of this talk today. We had an amazing discussion last year with Mathieu, with the French, the CNES representative in India, but it's amazing to have you today so you can talk really as an Indian about what's going on in your amazing country. So first, thank you so much for being here today. And we have a traditional question here, which is always to know more about the guest. And so, Rajeev, what is your background?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for having me with you. It's a pleasure to be talking to you. It's always been a pleasure talking to you, but we are doing it together here. So I've been in the trade for the last 40 plus years. My first engagement with space was in 1985. I was a fresh engineer out of college. I used to work for a company which had taken a transfer of technology from ISRO for a F-band receiving terminal. But then I moved on to different fields of communication, mostly been in communication. And now I am working with SIA-India, which is a Space Industry Association. And it is the industry, it's a sectoral body. While we call ourselves an industry association, it's a sectoral body. Because we don't just engage with the industry, we engage with the academia, we engage with research labs, we engage with the standardization bodies. So a lot of work happening around that. So that's what keeps me busy.
Yes, and you're a very busy man because the space sector in India is booming. There is a lot of things to do. Just for an introduction question, could you just picture us how the space sector in India is organized? What are the administration? What are the main structures to know when you're discovering the Indian space sector?
Well, a few years back, if you had asked me this question, the one name that would have been sufficient was ISRO, because nobody would talk about. But the fact is that even during those days, there were 50 odd companies, or maybe more than that, who have been working with ISRO for more than 2 decades. So companies like L&T and Anand and Centum. I know for L&T has been involved in more or less every space mission, launch mission of ISRO. And Anand has been involved with 80 launch missions, 100 spacecraft missions till date. And these companies over the year have developed their skill sets, they have developed the mature capabilities. So that's how it was a few years back. 3 years back, when the market opened up, the government thought that the private sector, they appreciated the role that a private sector industry can play in being an operator as well. And since then we have seen so many regulatory changes happening, all for the good, right? And we are upbeat about it. The way InSpace was formed as a separate body to interface with the industry for promotion, for technology, for authorizations. And then you had NCIL coming out as the commercial arm to do the commercial activities. And the industry was anyway, it seems like there was a latent kind of a thing. They wanted to be here, but possibly didn't know what they could do and what they could not do. But now with so much of clarity coming in, we have an ecosystem of more than 600 companies in India who some way or the other deal with the space sector. And 200 plus is the space startups amongst them.
How do you project the evolution of the Indian space sector?
Well, recently there was a study by InSpace which talked about where we are. and breaks it down into multiple sectors. And then we have an aspiration. There is a plan, there is a projection that from $8.5 billion today of market size, we are planning to grow to $44 billion. Now that's India growth story for the next 9 years, 10 years to come. And we're quite upbeat about it. Yes, we're working towards.
So since you are quite a good observer of what's happening in the India ecosystem with the administration, with the private company, SME, what do you think are the most vivid space segment within the industry?
It'll be difficult to find out which is not.
Ah, it's a great answer.
Yeah. So the way when I deal with companies, I see innovation happening. Not just while we talk of innovation, we always talk of startups because they kind of bring some kind of a disruption into the ecosystem. But when I go to even the large companies, which I thought may not be as agile, but I see a lot of innovation happening there, a lot of capacity building happening there. So the kind of infrastructure that the companies are putting up, it would be lovely to see some of those startups working with these larger organizations to have the heft of the experience and the disruption of the innovation that they bring and come together to create something wonderful.
Yeah, it's funny that to mention that because that's something you hear also a lot in Europe and especially in France.
Indeed.
People want smaller company to work well with big companies, so you have some sort of nice circle of innovation that can flow. This year, that's going to be, I think, the 60th anniversary of the French/India space cooperation.
Indeed.
To like very, I know that there are a lot of relationship between ISRO and CNES.
That's correct, sir.
And again, we are at the CNES booth here in Milano. How do you see this cooperation between France and India? How do you see it on a daily life? How do you see it evolving also?
Well, let me put it this way. The current CNES head in India, he's probably as Indian as I am. He's been there for so long.
Mathieu.
So,
yeah.
Matthew, yeah. He's been there for so long. And it's so comfortable working with him and working with our French friends. It probably stems and builds out of the cooperation that we have had in the last 60 years, right? We have had so many cooperations, we have had so many collaborations on projects, and that has helped build that trust factor amongst both of us. And today that comfort is moving from a government to government to a business to business connect as well. And that is very encouraging.
Yeah, that's very encouraging for the future. And I saw that last year during this mission. I know that there was also a GIFAS mission this year. So it's good to see cooperation between these two countries, which has so much to bring together.
Indeed. So when the GIFAS mission was here and, we went together and we took them to multiple facilities in India, the whole idea was that that B2B potential that needs to be started with an engagement factor and information factor. So the Indian companies need to know what these companies bring to the table who are coming as visitors, and the visitors, the French companies that had come here, they need to know what kind of facilities they can expect here. At the end of the day, I have seen companies like Axon being here for so many years, and they've been doing business from here. They've been serving different markets out in the world. So it's not just limited to a particular product. Those kind of collaborations could expand beyond multiple product segments and solutions. And that's what we are aiming for.
One final question, just to sum it up this interview. What would be a piece of advice that you could give to a French company willing to discover India and maybe to work with Indian space companies?
I suppose the advice goes both ways. And it goes for the Indian companies as well as the French companies. We need to know each other more. So as SIA-India, as SIA-India, what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a database of foundational capabilities of all the 600 odd companies in India. So we worked with the experts at ISRO and outside of ISRO to create a matrix of 20 domains and 120 subdomains. And now we are mapping each company to one of those subdomains, more than one subdomain. So very soon, maybe in a quarter or so, there will be a open, searchable database where you could search a company with kind of skill set, with the kind of heritage, with the kind of flight heritage, with the kind of number of people, where they are located. So the motivation is that as French companies come here, buy, sell, procure, collaborate, put up joint ventures, they need to know more about whom they can talk to. So this is on our part that we are trying to do to make it easier. I would suggest the same to the Indian companies. If they have to do business with France, they need to know, go there, be at good terms with them, understand them better, see their facilities, and those kind of engagement I've seen have brought in a lot of opportunities, and I see that bringing more opportunities future as well.
Well, I like this keyword that you mentioned, opportunities. It's always amazing to notice that such a long cooperation is still bringing a lot of promises, a lot of
Indeed.
perspective and future outcome. So again, Rajeev, thank you again so much for allowing this time, because I know it's a very hectic week for everybody here, but especially for you. So thank you again so much, and see you soon.
See you soon, sir, and thank you so much for having me here. It has been lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Likewise, take care.
Thanks.